Ever wondered how tequila went from Mexican moonshine to global superstar? The Margarita might be the face of tequila today, but it wasn't the first to turn heads. That honor goes to the Tequila Daisy. It didn't last, but for a while this bright, fizzy cocktail was everywhere. Border bars, glossy magazines, even tequila ads. It was the drink that gave American drinkers their first real taste of tequila in a glass. Welcome back to History in a Glass. I'm Josh, your guide in this tipsy time machine through history. We've got another World Spirit Day on deck. This time, it's World Tequila Day on July 24th. And to celebrate, we're heading back to the early days of border bars, bootlegging, and a little forgotten drink that helped tequila break into American cocktail culture. So tequila, that means margarita, right? Well, not at first. The earliest tequila cocktails to catch fire in the US were actually daisies, bright fizzy drinks that predate the margarita by a couple decades. During Prohibition, tequila slipped into the mix and something clicked. The Tequila Daisy didn't just taste good, it made tequila cocktail worthy for the very first time. So, grab your ingredients and let's meet the drink that paved the way for tequila. This story starts where two worlds collided, post-revolution Mexico and Prohibition era America. When America went dry in 1920, did people just stop drinking? Well, of course not. They just got creative. Some even turning to Mexico, turning sleepy border towns into Vegas strips overnight. Tijuana, Juarez, border towns lit up instantly. Booze flowed, bars thrived, and behind those bars, a new flavor started creeping in. Earthy, grassy, unapologetic tequila. Most Americans had never tasted it. Hell, most Americans probably never even heard of it. It wasn't stocked in US bars, and it sure wasn't exported in bulk. Up north, the cocktail canon was still gin fizzes, rye Manhattans, maybe even rum punch. Agave wasn't even on the bench. Bartenders in Mexico faced a simple challenge. American tourists kept asking for drinks they knew, but wanted them made with whatever local liquor was actually on hand. Enter the Daisy. Now you've probably never ordered one, but in the 1800s, it was everywhere. The Daisy first shows up in Jerry Thomas's 1876 Bartender's Guide. Originally it was brandy, lemon juice, and an orange cordial, but it wasn't locked in. The Daisy was more of a formula. Spirit, citrus, sweetener, and sometimes soda. You could swap in things like whiskey, rum, or gin, and it still worked. By the 1890s, it got a makeover. Orange cordial gave way to raspberry syrup and then grenadine. Bartenders started topping it with soda water, and a new Daisy was in bloom. Taller, brighter, and still flexible. So what happens when you plug in tequila? Well, you get the Tequila Daisy, a fizzy, citrusy, border town remix that hit with a snap of agave. This wasn't a margarita, at least not yet, but it was tequila's first serious cocktail roll, and it made a damn strong entrance. Henry Madden was a bartender from Kansas, and he was behind the stick at the Turf Bar in Tijuana. One night in the mid-20s, Madden reached for a bottle to whip up a Daisy, and grabbed tequila by mistake. Wrong bottle, he shrugged off later, but customers weren't complaining. They kept asking for more. Very shortly after, the Turf Bar proudly declared itself the birthplace of the Tequila Daisy, and nobody in town seemed to argue. So the important question is, what was Madden trying to make? If he meant to make the classic Daisy with brandy and orange liqueur, then he accidentally landed near a proto-margarita almost 20 years before the margarita shows up in any book. Oh, and by the way, the word for Daisy in Spanish? Margarita. Maybe that's just a coincidence. But if his plan was to mix a grenadine-sweetened gin Daisy and he just swapped in tequila, then what he created was something much closer to the Tequila Sunrise. Tequila, lime, grenadine, and soda water. This is more likely given the recipe that we're about to make, but either way, that one mix-up sparked two different branches of tequila cocktail history. And after Prohibition ended, the Daisy didn't just disappear, it actually multiplied. By the 1940s, it was riding up the rails of the West Coast, drifting down to Baja and Mexicali, and making its way across the Gulf states like a citrus-soaked postcard from the borderlands. It popped up in tequila books, it got name-dropped in Time magazine, and it starred in tequila ads teaching Americans how to drink this strange new spirit. When wartime whiskey rations kicked in and tequila imports exploded, the Daisy became a Trojan horse. A sweet, bubbly way to sneak tequila into the American palate. So here's the kicker, despite all the hype, nobody bothered writing the recipe down. No specs in bar guides, no travel writer scribbling it down, no newspaper columns. There were just a few hazy mentions in old liquor store brochures from the 30s, but Tequila Daisy spread entirely by word of mouth. So the first written Tequila Daisy recipe doesn't appear until 1958, but cocktail historian David Wondrich backdates it to around 1925 based on earlier descriptions of the common Daisy template, and that's the one that we're gonna make today. Okay, so here are the ingredients that we're gonna use for our Tequila Daisy from the Turf Club bar in Tijuana circa 1925. And as always, we're gonna start off with the booze. We need 2 ounces of 100% agave tequila. Here we're using El Tesoro because it's made with traditional methods, brick oven agaves, roller mill copper stills, no additives, which gives us a flavor profile close to how tequila would have tasted it in the 1920s. It's earthy, peppery, and agave forward, like the rougher, unrefined tequilas you'd find in border bars during Prohibition. If you can't find El Tesoro, look for Fortaleza Blanco, Tapatio Blanco, or even Espolón Blanco is a solid backup. We need 3/4 of an ounce of fresh lime juice and a half an ounce of grenadine. Now, I know what you're thinking. Roses? Really? But here's the thing. David Wondrich actually recommends the fake stuff here. He says you want the bright red artificial grenadine because it's sweeter, more vivid, and gets you closer to the bold, punchy flavor and color these drinks had in the 20s and 30s. This is not about historical purity, it's about matching the moment. So yeah, we're going full neon. And then we're also gonna need probably about an ounce of chilled sparkling water to top off our drink. So let's go ahead and build our 1925 Tequila Daisy. To start, we're gonna need our shaker and some ice. We're gonna combine the tequila, lemon juice, and grenadine into the shaker. Now, technically, tequila had been around in the US. San Francisco saw its first bottles in the mid-1850s. And by the late 1880s, you could find a product called Nature's Own Tonic, which was distributed by the Tequila Tonic Export Company of Chicago. But outside of a few border towns, it was still a mystery to most Americans. So now that we have this all combined, we're gonna give this a quick shake for about 30 seconds or so. The Tequila Daisy wasn't just some border bar gimmick. It was a blueprint. By the 1930s, that basic formula of tequila, lime, and grenadine had made its way to Mexico City, where a new generation of Mexican-run cocktail lounges were shaking things up. These weren't your dusty cantinas. These were modern spots with velvet booths and mirrored bars, serving locals the same Manhattans and sidecars you'd find in New York or Paris. But tucked into those menus, a little lineup of tequila cocktails, all riffing off the Daisy. Next, we'll need a chilled coupe glass. Now we'll just strain this into our glass. And then top with some soda water. Okay, so let's give our 1925 Tequila Daisy a try. Cheers. All right, this is really good. It's bright, it's refreshing, it's tart, and just a little sweet. You still get that full tequila flavor. It's peppery, earthy, clean, but the grenadine smooths it out. It's super refreshing. Like, no wonder why this helped tequila break into the American scene. I just don't get why it disappeared. It's really good. Before frozen blenders, salt rims, and bad spring break decisions, there was this, the first real handshake between tequila and the American bar. So no, it doesn't taste like a margarita, but it's bright, zesty, a little sweet, and too easy to drink. And you can see why Americans were hooked. The Tequila Daisy didn't last, but it definitely mattered. Its fingerprints are all over cocktail history. It helped tequila step out of the shadows and into the spotlight, paving the way for drinks like the Margarita and the Tequila Sunrise, and the entire tequila boom that followed. And on World Tequila Day, this one's definitely worth remembering. So thanks for keeping history alive with me one sip at a time. Until next time, drink responsibly, or at least drink historically.